Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. How are we feeling today, right? We're going to give a few minutes for people to pop on. I think this is an important topic. I know I keep covering things like how to get better about you. And I was listening to this yesterday on YouTube, and I thought that it was a great one to share with you today. So while we give it a couple of minutes, it's Saturday morning for people to pop on. I'm listening to some Share and Believe. Can't break through. Isn't she inspiring at her age to be like her and have her energy? And all the things that she's had to overcome. So if we're looking at people who've had to overcome experiences and crises in their life, she is definitely one of them. Good morning, love. How are you this morning? So I think it's an important topic today, talking about how to overcome stress and extreme crisis. Good morning, love. Do you like Cher? Good morning, Jessica, my love. How are you? Happy Saturday. I'm excited today. I happen to be going to an event this afternoon, so I am I'm pumped, to say a better word, right? I'm going to see Eric Worre. For those of you who don't know Eric Worre, Eric Worre is in network marketing. If I can find his thing right now. Oops. I'm going to drop everything. I know. GoPro. Eric Worre. All right? I'm going to see him this afternoon in Rye, and I'm very excited. Hi, Sally. How are you? All right. So let me turn this down and let's get started because it's Saturday. Good morning, Anne. How are you? So yesterday, I was listening to, and for those of you who don't know me, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Michelle Vaughan. I am an entrepreneur and a professional network marketer, and my goals and passion in life are to help you feel better about you. All right? So, in saying that, I'm going to share some of my experiences and some of the things I learned along the way, and hopefully they will help. And we can all become role models, and I'm going to show you how you can become your own role model for everybody, for yourself. Good morning, good morning. So yesterday I was listening to a YouTube video or a YouTube seminar from Anthony Robbins. So Anthony Robbins is a fantastic motivational speaker. Now, why he's different to everybody else that I listen to, like Jim Rohn or John C. Maxwell, is that Anthony Robbins believes that you have to change your whole physiology. All right, you have to. His philosophy is motion creates emotion. So when he's doing any of his seminars, he's very impactful, right? He'll tell you, get up, dance, jump, change your physiology, change the way you're feeling, right down deep in the core, and this is how you change your life. So what he was talking about yesterday, and if you want to YouTube it, by all means go ahead. I'm trying to cover it as best I can. I don't know if I put the same oomph that he does, but I'm going to try. So Anthony Robbins, it's the greatest secret ever. That's the one I listened to yesterday. So what he talks about is that everybody experiences crisis, extreme stress in their lives. Maybe it's a health stress. Maybe it's an economic stress. Maybe it's financial. Maybe it's in your career. Maybe it's in your family life. So these are the stresses that occur to us every single day. Stress doesn't come, though, from the facts. It comes from the meaning that we give the facts. All right? So it's not what's happening. It's the meaning that you put around what's happening to you. So ask yourself this question. What is the single force that controls your life? All right? We all have it. Regardless of what's happened to us or who we are, it's the one gift that the Creator, the universe, whichever way you want to look at it, has given to us. All right? We're all born with it. And this is the power of choice. And I talk about this, in some of my other videos. I talk about the power of choice and how we all have it. You can't always, and this is what he says, you can't always control the events, but we can choose what we focus on. We can choose what it means, and we can choose what we do about it. So this is what we're going to talk about. So he says, decisions in life, the choices we make in life, determine our destiny. Make sense? All right, if you agree with me, heart it up. If you don't like anything in your life, then change it. Make a decision. But right, don't just make it you got to make a real decision. It's got to be so solidified that nothing's going to stop you back. You're going to cut off from any other thing that you're likely to, that can hold you back, and you're going to move forward. So, those of you who know me, when I made a decision that I was no longer going to be in that relationship with my ex-husband, there was nothing that was going to stand in my way. Nothing. All right? I did whatever I had to do to get out of that situation. And like I said, for those of you who know me, you know what I had to go through. All right? I had to get my kids' passports without him knowing. I had to get my kids' visas on their passports without him knowing. Right? I planned my whole trip, 16-hour flight from South Africa to America without him knowing. I would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, or odd hours when he was sleeping, and pack things in places so that when that day that I was going to leave, I wouldn't forget something. Because nothing was going to stand in my way of doing what I wanted to do. I had made that decision finally, and for, everybody had been telling me for years, I'd been thinking about it for years, but the day that I made that decision, nobody and nothing was going to stand in my way. So that's what it is. So he talks about, as I said, the choice, what you focus on. So that's what we're going to talk about. Whatever you focus on is what you feel. So if you look for evidence around you that people do not care, guess what? They won't. That's just because what you're feeling is what you focus on is what you feel. So if you focus on the fact that your life sucks, guess what? It's going to suck. It's going to be like hell. But if you focus on something positive, your life can be positive. All right? So if you think about the amazing coincidences that have happened because of who you've met, maybe by coincidence you met that love of your life. All right? And what were you focusing on that day? And that coincidence gave you a new meaning and a new path to your life. Maybe you met somebody that gave you an idea for a new career. All right? Or maybe for us mothers out there, it's the day we looked at our newborn child. All right? Don't you agree with me that when you see your newborn child, that changes you for good? It changes your path. It changes how you feel. Good morning, good morning. It changes how you feel about everything. All right? You suddenly have a new purpose, a new focus. You have a new title. You're now a mother. And everything you do in life is around them and focused on them. Changes your whole perspective. All right. So, the old age phrase in a good book, seek and you shall find. All right? Have you become conscious of your decision-making process? So if you want a new life, you have to make new choices. Conscious choices, though. Don't just be mindful about the choices that you're making. So if you focus, like I said, if you focus on people that don't care, they won't. But focus on people who do care, and you think about good people around you, and guess what? You will find them. That's what it is. So now, the other thing is, what do these things mean? What meaning do you put to the stresses in your life and the crisis in your life? If you put a meaning on the fact that no one loves me, people won't, and people are going to take advantage of me, that's what will happen. All right? We all get to choose the meaning we put on things. If you think it's the end of a relationship, so if you think about this, if you think it's the end of the relationship, do you treat it the same way as you do the beginning of a relationship? You think about how you treat somebody at the beginning of a relationship. If they tell you to take out the garbage, if they tell you to make me breakfast, we're all like, hey, let me do it now. And you run and you do it. Anything else I can do for you, love? When you're thinking it's the end of a relationship and they say to you, please make breakfast, you go, when did your last servant die? All right, why am I making you breakfast? Make your own goddamn breakfast. So if you want a healthy relationship, what I will say to you is, and I've been with my fiance for 18 years, first of all, never take each other for granted. Secondly, always treat it like it's the beginning of a relationship. We have a great relationship in that we feed off each other. And whatever I can't do, he picks up. So if I'm working, he's cooking dinner. But I will say this to you, I always thank him for making me dinner. Always. Now sometimes there may be something in there that I don't particularly like. Will I tell him? Hell no. Hell no. Why? Because he put thought into making that meal for me. So I have got to be appreciative of that. All right? Always. If you live in the vein of gratitude and be grateful for things that people do for you on a daily basis, guess what? You will always think it's the beginning of a relationship. It's those little things. Always say good morning to each other. Always tell each other you love them. Kiss each other good night every night. It's those little things. So that's what the meaning that you can put on things. So if you always put a meaning on this is the beginning of a relationship, or if you put the meaning on that there are people out there that are good, There are people out there that can help you. It changes your perspective. All right, then the third thing is, what are we going to do? All right, because it's all very well what you focus on is what you feel. What is the meaning behind what you're doing, the crisis? And then the other thing is, what are you going to do about it? You can sit woeful, or you can move on. So we decide to quit because things become overwhelming. We decide, or you can decide to get strong and turn things around. We decide sometimes to wait and see. Let's see what's going to happen. All right? But these things are not going to change your current crisis and your current stress. So if you look at where you are right now, everything can be overcome. All right? Especially if you decide to focus on it differently, especially if you decide to put a different meaning to it. We all go through these crises in life, all of us. Good morning, Maggie. But you can't let it hold you back. You can't let it define you. All right? You talk about really being thrown with a life crisis. He talks about Lance Armstrong. Okay, so Lance Armstrong was a cyclist, as all of you know, or maybe you don't know, but he was a cyclist. And he got diagnosed with testicular cancer. Now, he could have decided, good morning, I'm just going to quit. My life is over. That's it. I'm done. All right? Now, you can imagine how that must have felt for him. This is his career. This is what he was doing. But it's not even just his career. It's his life. But he decided to put a different meaning on it. He decided that this is not going to define me. This is not going to be the end of me. I'm going to fight with everything I've got. And he did. It changed his whole perspective. And he put into action a plan. And he went on to win a number of Tour de France's after that. He had his biggest breakthrough after he faced a life crisis. Because I think his whole perspective probably changed in that I've fought death. I've looked death in the face. So you riding against me, you're nothing. Nothing. All right, the other one example he uses is Rosa Parks. For those of you who don't know Rosa Parks was the lady who decided that when she was told to sit at the back of a bus, she decided on that day that nobody was going to be in control of her life. Nobody was going to tell her what she can and cannot do. And she sat where she wanted, and she caused a revolution. She changed the perception of people all around the world. Now you say to yourself, I can't do that because I'm not famous or I'm not this. It just goes to show you don't have to be famous to make a change. You don't have to be famous to make an impact somewhere. All right, bold decisions are what you need versus trying to hang on and do what they got. All right, versus trying to hang on to what they've got. People hang on to things instead of deciding, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to run with it. So the two things that determine your choices in life, first of all, is the state of mind and emotions you are in at that moment. This is what defines our choices. So if you ever thought about it, and he talks about it, someday you may have snapped at somebody you care about, your children, your other half, whatever that may be, but you may have snapped at them. Not because they did anything to irritate you, but because of the mood and the emotion that you were in at that particular time. So really, what happens is you make them feel awful, and then you feel sorry for it later. You feel bad because you snapped at them, and then it changed the whole perception. So this is what happens. So when you get into the wrong state of mind or emotions, you make the wrong decisions. So the first thing to do is make sure and be aware of your state of mind and emotion whenever you make a choice. Ask yourself, is this the real emotion that I should be putting behind this choice that I'm making? All right, a strong and empowering state will help you make better decisions. The second thing that determines your choices is your story or your blueprint. All right, we're all born, or not born, but through lives, we develop a story and we develop a blueprint. We all have an idea about how our story or our life should be or is supposed to be. It comes from our experiences, it comes from what we've been taught, it comes from the interpretation that we put behind what life should be. But then, what happens is, you hit the stumbling block in the road. And then you let this stumbling block because it's not what you think it should be. It's not what your story in your life should be. And then all of a sudden this crisis hits, and then you don't know what to do anymore. You don't know how to define yourself anymore. All right? And that's when we experience stress. Stress and crisis comes from when you're going through your path of what you think your life should be, your blueprint in life, and all of a sudden something changes or something happens in your life that puts a wall. So I love his phrase. He says, life is the dance between what you desire and what you most fear. All right? Does that make sense? So life is the dance between what you desire and what you fear. That's where all the energy is. That's where life is, really, if you think about it. All right, so now let's talk about how to break through a crisis. Trying to get what we want, we don't know what we value most. All right? We don't know what we need. We find ourselves waking up every day asking, why is my life this way? So what makes people happy is progress. All right? Sometimes when you say to people, I need to change, or people say, I need to change. I need to change. I need to change. Change is inevitable. All right? Through life, change is inevitable. Things will happen. So based on your decisions, based on your choices, change will happen. You'll either gain weight because you didn't do the right things. You'll have a health crisis because you didn't do the right things. Good morning, good morning. All right? So change is inevitable. Don't wait for a crisis to happen for you to decide to make a change in your life, though. But it's not necessarily about change. I think it's progress. All right? So everything in life should be a progress. You should be progressing towards something. So don't say, I need to change, because change will happen. Ask yourself, how can I progress? Maybe it's taking that one walk a day. And eventually what will happen is each progressive step that you take will lead to change in your life in a positive direction. Because crises tend to melt us down. But what can happen out of a crisis, and this is the other side of it, is it can remold your life. And we remold ourselves whenever we're presented with a crisis, because suddenly we have to make new choices. But don't wait for a crisis to happen to do that. Decide now. Everybody wants change, but nobody wants to do it. Everybody wants progress, but nobody wants to do it. I think the sun is starting to play havoc with me, so I do apologize. Sometimes what keeps you in crisis mode or stress mode, it's because it's been reinforced on a daily basis. All right, we all like to have that sympathy. We all like to have that woe is me feeling. Well, not woe is me feeling. The people that surround you. So some people stay in that crisis mode. Maybe it's depression. I wouldn't say anxiety, but depression can be, definitely. When you're feeling sad about your life and woe is me and look at my life, what happens is people go to you and go, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's not good. And you get those people that rally around you. But this is not a good place to be, people. It really isn't. And the problem is that sometimes when you're successful, what happens is people go, yeah, it's all right for you to say so. All right, because you're doing well. They envy you. So then you don't get that reinforcement. You don't get that whole reward. Because everything in life, even the stresses, even the bad things in life, we constantly reinforce it by rewarding ourselves with it. All right, I do this because I get rewarded for it. Maybe you're a drinker. Maybe you just like comfort food. All right? You say to yourself, I'm fat because every time you reinforce the fact that, I've got to eat because it makes me feel good. You're reinforcing constantly on a daily basis. So it's easy. Sometimes it's easy for us to see this in other people. So we'll say to people, we see people and we go, they're messed up. Look at their lives. They're so depressed. They're so unhappy. All right? But we don't take a look at ourselves and see what place we're sitting at. All right? So as long as you and also we're very quick to blame somebody else. It's got to be somebody else's fault. Maybe it's the economy. Maybe it's the government. Government sucks. Maybe it's your other half. All right? Maybe it's your boss. It's everybody else's fault, never our own. So as long as we have the decision that it's not our fault, you cannot change anything. You really can't. All right? When did we become, and this is what he says, when did we become addicted to our problems? What he says is give up that story. that it's not your fault. Give up the attention, all right, and the commiserating that comes along with it. So the 5 simple steps that he says to change. If you're in a crisis right now, what he says is see it as it is, but not worse than it is. All right, so does that make sense? See it as it is, but not worse than it is. And he says 63% of us today in the USA think that the future is going to be worse than the past. The future for their children is going to be worse than the past. And I know right now with our government situation, I can see how we see that. The future is going to be worse than the past. Isn't that a sad place though? Because we're basically saying there is no future. So you give up. You give up the power that you have of decision. Can you imagine living life like there is no future? That will hold you back from everything in life. All right, number 2. So that one is see it as it is, but not worse than it is. Acknowledge it for what it is. Put it in its place. Second one, get to the real truth and deal with it. All right, so if you're looking for, he uses the phrase, and I like it, he uses the equation. If you're looking for a job, so if you've lost your job and you're ready to give up because you're seeing things like, I've just got to quit. So you've been looking for a job in a particular industry. So if I want to use, say, for example, the textile industry right now, and you're looking for a job in the textile industry here in New York has died. Just say it, it's died. It's gone abroad. And then you say to yourself, well, there is no jobs out there for me. Maybe it's time. The truth is that maybe it's time that you have to get a new career path. All right, maybe it's time to look at you and say, well, I need to learn new skills and change what you're doing. You can't just say that, oh, well, this is the truth. There's no jobs to be had, so I'm just going to give up. So this is what you're doing. You're not seeing it as it is, but you're making it worse than it is. So the second one is get to the real truth and then deal with it. Say, oh, well, I need to retool. Because the longer you live in this state, the longer it'll take for you to change. Number 3, get a vision and get it strong. All right, so get a vision, get it strong. It's got to be a compelling future. You want a vision for your life. Maybe you want a vision for your relationship. Maybe you have a vision for your finances, or you need a vision for your finances. Maybe you need a vision for your health. You have to have something that helps move you forward. You have to have something that gets you there every one step at a day. Something that you're looking for. I have a vision board right next to my bed. I see it every morning when I wake up. I see it every night before I go to bed. And this is what helps me to get out of bed and get motivated to do what I do on a daily basis. All right? You need something that gives you emotional and psychological fuel to keep you moving forward. You need that energy to keep you moving. Maybe it's your children. That's your vision. You want to create a better life for them. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for them. All right, number 4, get a role model and learn their strategies. So if you want to close the gap from where you are to where you want to be, it's best to learn from other people. Sometimes we can't learn by ourselves, all right? Sometimes we're in such a place in the crisis, in the stress of the moment, that we can't see past it. You can't see over it. You can't go through it. So then ask for help. There are plenty of people out there who can help you through what their experiences are. So whatever it is that you're going through right now, I can guarantee you there's somebody else who's gone through it at some point in their lives. Find them. Learn from them. It could be a grandmother. It could be a friend. History repeats itself. Good morning, good morning. So you need a role model, and you need a strategy, and you need to go to work. Thank you for the loves. Love you too. All right, so this is what it is. Get a role model and learn from their strategies. And then put them into action. Don't just read it and say, oh, okay, well, I can't really do that. No, you need to put it into action. You need to take steps. It's the only way you're going to get out of it. Number 5, give more than you expect to receive. I can't even tell you how rewarding this can be for you. So when you've learned and you've got that role model and you've learned the strategies, give. Go into action and give. Contribute. Help. Share. This is what I do on a daily basis. And I can't tell you how my journey of personal growth has exponentially grown because of the fact that I love to share with you. I love to share with you my experiences. If I can help somebody else feel better by sharing my experience, there is nothing more rewarding than that. All right, so that's number 5. So quickly go run through the steps. First, if you're in a crisis, see it as it is, not worse than it is. Really sit down and assess that. Number 2, get to the real truth and deal with it. What is the truth behind it? Maybe you need to move. Maybe you need to change. Maybe you need to move to a different relationship. All right? Number 3, get a vision and get strong. Number 4, get a role model and learn their strategies. There's always somebody out there who can help you. Number 5, give more than you expect to receive. Even with that role model, maybe give them something, because I tell you what, their experiences will come back tenfold. So now, this is going to be my challenge for you guys today, and I'm going to put it up on my Living and Loving Life group. So for those of you who don't know, I have a group called Living and Loving Life Together. It's a group. If you're not in it already, join. All right? I put up motivational stuff all the time, and I want it to be a lovely community. So I'm sure there are people out there today. Now, I've told you how to make these changes. Those of you who are watching, and those of you who are going to watch, somewhere in your life, you've experienced a crisis. All right? That you've overcome. So I think the best role model that you can be or get in your life, get a role model, learn their strategies, is yourself. Because if you had to really think about a crisis that you've come through and what you did to do that, this will give you the strength to go forward. And I think that if I can help, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to answer these questions that I'm going to put forward as a challenge to you today in my group. And let's put some experiences up there that may help somebody else. All right, let's share something that may help somebody else. And I really would like you to try and do this. Help me with this. Let's have a community of experiences and role models out there that can help somebody else in a path. So we're going to build a community of role models, help each other. So the 5 questions I want you to answer, and I will put it up in the group. 1, what has been one of the toughest moments of your life that you did get through? So just quickly list what was the toughest moment of your life and you got through it. All right. Number 2, what pulled you through this crisis? Was it a person? Was it your faith? Maybe it was a belief. Maybe it was an idea that you came up with. All right. Number 3, what was your life like before the crisis? All right. For a contrast. So if you had to look at your life right before that contrast, right before that crisis, sorry. So if you had to look at your life right before that crisis, some people go, my life was great before this happened. I don't know. If you look at it really closely, probably wasn't all that grand. But so really examine that life shortly, just before all hell broke loose, or things really went wrong in your life. What was it like? Was it great? Or was it just like, okay. Number 4, what did you do to turn things around? So what did you do to get over that situation? Maybe to get through that situation? What action did you take? Who did you ask for advice? What skill did you learn? So give us a little bit of a description there. Because people can learn from you. All right? Instead of them just hearing from me, help us share this. Share your experience of something that you've overcome. Number 5, how is your life better today because you went through this crisis? I could tell you, and most of you know my crisis that I went through. I met the love of my life. I met my soulmate. All right, now if I hadn't left my ex-husband, would I have met him? The choices I made, the decisions I made to leave and the places I went to, and the things I went through in personal growth. And I'll share my story up there too. I have the life I have today, and I get to share it with all of you. So, how is your life better today because you went through the crisis? How are you stronger? Maybe you're more compassionate because you felt that suffering and you don't want anybody else to go through it. Maybe you're hopeful that you can overcome any challenge now. And what skill maybe did you learn that made you happier? So how are you physically, mentally, spiritually today because of what you went through in your crisis? So I hope this helps, guys. I know we all go through stresses in life, and I just wanted to share with you because I thought this was a very inspirational YouTube video. If you want to know what it is, go back. You can listen to this. Otherwise, it's the greatest secret ever by Anthony Robbins. Anthony Robbins like really gets you empowered. You know, I'm an oily person, so I'm going to show you some oils that can help you while you're deciding, or maybe if you're going through a crisis right now. All right? Trauma Life. Trauma Life is a great oil for you to help get over any trauma that you have suffered now or in the past. Inhale the oil and do some of these steps that we've talked about here. Stress Away. If it's a stress that you're having on a daily basis, Stress Away is a wonderful oil to diffuse, to rub behind your neck, rub it all over you, bathe in it if you want to. You can even drink it, all right? You can put a couple of drops in water and drink it. Release Oil. Release Oil helps you release emotional blockages in life, all right? I love the smell of this oil. I don't know if I should inhale it because it always gets me very emotional, and it brings all my emotions out, and then I can get rid of them, all right? Because bottling them up doesn't help. Gets them out, gets rid of them. Release Oil. Surrender. Surrender really helps you to move forward, all right? To look forward to your future. We also have an oil called Into the Future. Surrender is a great oil too for that. Valor. Valor helps you get courage. All right, so if you need courage to get through this current crisis that you're going through, or the stress that you're going through, to make those life changes, Valor is a great oil. Rub it behind your neck, diffuse, put it in a diffuser necklace. I have abundance in here because I love abundance. I want to live an abundant lifestyle. Then for those of you who are more spiritually attuned, White Angelica. White Angelica is a great oil to inhale. All right, if you put a couple of drops in your hand, inhale it, and then rub it around you. For those of you who believe in guardian angels, all right, White Angelica surrounds your life with guardian angels that can help protect you. And I can't explain how it works, but it does. So for those of you, this is my message for you today. Please help me in building some role models, a community of role models on my Living and Loving Life group. Living and Loving Life Together group. If you're not already in it, I will put up those 5 questions. Help us by building a community of role models. All right, guys? I want you to have a happy, happy Saturday. I love you all. I am eternally grateful and appreciative for you checking in with me and joining me on this journey. I hope you're grateful for yourselves. I hope you know you're awesome, by the way. You're all awesome, and you deserve a life that's full and abundant, purposeful, and well. Be grateful for your families.